Hey everybody, welcome back to What Have I Seen Lately. This is day 6 of that series, and uh, continuing off where we left off with Wong Kar-Wai. We did it in the mood for love, and now we're doing uh, Chungking Express, which was written and directed, I believe, by Wong Kar-Wai. Um, and tells a story of two parallel stories of two cops, one of them being a detective and one of them being, I guess, like a mall cop or just some patrol unit, as they are going through breakups and turmoils of that, and the varying reactions to said thing. One of which is kind of in a deep state of depression, where the other is um, is in that state, but also finds a side of optimism, um, um, and a second chance of sorts for love. And the lingering thing about the movie, that ultimately, thematically speaking, is this idea of expiration and this idea of loneliness that is formed due to a lack of acceptance of changes that are pending and are just inevitable. Um, and I think that for that, what I think that the movie has, which is a step up from In the Mood for Love, which if you saw that review, I wasn't very fond of In the Mood for Love. Um, what this has more so that I think that In the Mood for Love was lacking was a more um, a more resonant screenplay, because the writing in this, I feel, is really really solid, and I think has um, more attainable and more understanding uh, metaphors, where In the Mood for Love is just more straight face and much more consistent in a certain way. Um, and I think that the style that the film possesses, because one of the things that I picked up now is that Wong Kar-Wai's style is to be very visually driven and to use the visuals to enhance his messages, with the hopes of it to be more informative than just for pretty pictures and pretty frames. And it does act with that purpose to be informative, but what it amounts to within it is rather thin levels of substance, which is an issue that I had in the Mood for Love. Now, admittedly, like I said, I think that it's greatly written. I think that technically it's interesting. I mean, they play around with certain speeds, with certain shots, like certain um, there's certain slow mos, and then there's regular format, and there's this and that, and to a certain measure, they are more thematically linked than was something In the Mood for Love, which I just felt was just there just for stylistic purposes. Um, but it just lacks that heft and that interest and that emotional center to match the passion of its visual sensibilities. And it's an issue that I've been noticing with Wong Kar-Wai's films, because In the Mood for Love had a similar, I had a similar sentiment too, where I just felt emotionally disengaged, and more interested in its visual remarks than anything else, but again lacking in that substance and more so in style. Um, so like, because the way I equated it, because I wrote some notes down if you're wondering why I'm looking down, like the thing about Wong Kar-Wai, which I find to be really fascinating, is what happens in the background, and those things that happen in the background are really what should be in the forefront, because what you get with this is something that is mostly uninteresting due to a lack of interest in genuine developments of characters. And I feel like it's also not fairly even. We spend a little time here on one story, and then we spend a huge chunk of its time in another story. And I get the overall reasoning for it, but it feels again like we we should have dedicated more time to one story than another story over here, or having two stories play out um, in one film. Um, and I think that just by expression, what it is trying to speak on, I think that it's interesting about this idea of explorations and the need um, to make certain steps, to move forward rather than sitting in a procrastination, in a state of procrastination. Um, but what I find Wong Kar-Wai's films to be more concerned with is with its style than its themes. And with that, I found something that I was just not as engaged with. I think that it is more interesting than In the Mood for Love because of the ideas it brings to the table, but it is in the manner of its pitch and in the manner um, of its pitch of its concept and not of the execution of said concept. So I think that, like I said, I think that it's visually interesting, and to a certain measure, that style is more informative than that of In the Mood for Love, but I find similar issues that I had with In the Mood for Love um, that are now that I find present in Chungking Express. So, and I'm hoping, because I'm curious to see more of his films. I'm hoping that those issues are not present in other films of his, because he has interesting ideas and there are interesting, um, you know, discussions being had, especially in Chungking Express. Like I said, there's a good script there. There is good dialogue being played, and there are interesting ideas represented through that writing. But it's the overall delivery and the impact of it is rather hollow and rather absent to some measure. Um, so it has the ideas, but it's not pushing those ideas, and that's what I want to see from Wong Kar-Wai, is less push of its style and less push of its substance and its the resonance that is there, So hopefully his other work, because I'm curious to see more of his work. Hopefully the other work that he has done is pushes the background elements to the forefront, because those ultimately are the things that I think would really get me on board with his filmmaking. So those are my thoughts on Chungking Express. I liked it more than In the Mood for Love, but like I said, carrying a lot of issues that I had with In the Mood for Love. At least with this, there was a better script being utilized. But you guys may know your thoughts about Chungking Express and just overall with the director Wong Kar-Wai. I believe that's saying his name correctly. If I am, I'm sorry. But let me know your thoughts about him as a filmmaker and just this film in general in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the last review. So stay tuned for that. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.